Welcome to our training on healthy blood glucose. We will be discussing the explosive impact diabetes is having on society and what we can expect in years to come. Diabetes is not only a disease on its own, but is connected with several disease conditions. And they range from cancer, cardiovascular, and heart disease. Also related with neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, and mental illness. Diabetes-related finger diseases is something else that most people don't associate with diabetes, and it ranges from anywhere from mild to severe. Now, it works on the neuropathies, the nerve endings, and it can significantly affect a person's quality of life. We will discuss two products that Life Choice offers that is very helpful for treating these type 2 diabetes, along with certain lifestyle changes. Now, first is the statistics. What we've found so far is that it is estimated that 41 million people aged 40 to 74 have prediabetes. The Canadian Diabetes Association estimates that in the next 10 years, by 2025, the rate of diabetes nationally will increase by 44%. 57% of Canadians with diabetes reported they cannot adhere to the prescribed medication due to the high out-of-pocket expenses. And these average anywhere from about $1,500 per month. So not only is the disease going to impact the medical system, but it's going to impact the family's lifestyle and choices that they can make if they're paying for medication like this. Now, diabetes affects 9.3% today's standards of the U.S. population. And this is what we call detected, those that go to doctors and actually are being treated. And there's a much greater number yet undetected. I would say at least 3 times that amount. In current trends, if this continues, 1 in 3 will develop diabetes in the United States by 2050. And I believe it's going to be much quicker than that. In a clinical study, diabetics over 50 with blood sugar levels of 12 were 22% more likely to develop dementia. So if the same person that's 50 years and older with the blood sugar levels of 15% will increase the probability to 78%, more than triple the amount by having it go up 3 points. Now, where is this connection, diabetes? How is that connected with Alzheimer's? Currently, in the US, a new person develops Alzheimer's every 68 seconds. Due to Alzheimer's often being underlying cause of death, the actual rate of death from Alzheimer's is estimated to be much greater than what is recorded on the death certificates, because if people fall or they have these accidents with Alzheimer's disease, they blame it on the accident and not the health condition. Now, Alzheimer's, the prolonged stressors that are risky for mental illness greatly influence the dementia. Now, although commonly assumed to be an elderly person's disease, research is indicating that those in their 40s and 50s are now developing dementia illness. In 2010, it was estimated that Alzheimer-related costs alone will add $627 billion to the American medical care costs. Now, the pharmaceutical treatments thus far have been unsuccessful and the worsening symptoms instead of actually improving them. So here we have two interrelated diseases, Alzheimer's and diabetes, that are rising at an alarming rate and interconnected. So the connection is that scientists believe that Alzheimer's is caused by a buildup of protein-based plaque in the brain. Now, this plaque is also being built up in your arterial walls. So the high blood pressure and sugar levels and the high blood pressure narrow and harden the brain arteries and they cause strokes, vascular dementia, and brain tissue death. This is where Alzheimer's is. It's a brain tissue death. It starves from getting the proper blood supply and nutrients. Now here's a connection, just one connection of the food that we eat. The chemical that provides the buttery flavor in foods like popcorn is diacetyl, and it is a recent study found that diacetyl caused protein clumping in the brain and enhanced the toxic effect of the protein. So diacetyl also penetrated the body's natural defense against such neurological attacks. So here's something that we're taking in as a chemical form, hidden in our diet, and it's actually changing the structure of the food and clumping it and causing the body to become disease state. Diabetes and Alzheimer's share the same biochemical properties, including ages, advanced glycation, end product, and these alter the protein tissue structure and the function, as well as causing brain plaque. Alzheimer's disease is now being referred to as type 3 diabetes. Now, there is also another connection that is a touchy subject in today's society, and that's vaccinations. Now, thimerosal is the ingredient that's derived from mercury, is a heavy metal commonly used in the vaccine manufacturing. We are told that it is used as a byproduct and it's washed out, but it's still in the end product. And it is also known to influence insulin-like growth factors, so IGF-1 levels. And these levels influence the blood sugar levels. So here we have it. Well, here's one of the connections that is being done on a daily basis from everywhere from infants to seniors. Now, there are treatment options and there are supplements that you can take that are very helpful. This one is discussing the effect of picolinates. The intestinal wall is the biggest barrier to minerals being absorbed in the body. Now, why we're talking about absorption is because it had a mineral, and anything you take into your body gets into the digestive tract. To get into the bloodstream must be in a form that can pass through the barriers that the body has created to protect it from infection or disease. Now, while in the intestinal wall, it normally has a negative charge, and digestive minerals, they have a positive charge. Now, the intestinal wall holds the mineral like a magnet and does not let it pass through the body's walls. Now, chelation is a bodily process in which the positive charge of the mineral is actually cloaked. It has a cloaking device in it that picolinates. And another molecule, into another molecule, so that it allows the mineral to pass through the body for absorption to the cells. Chelation in this respect primarily occurs through picolinic acid, which is the component, the driving force that brings the mineral to the cells. The one we're going to talk about for dealing with type 2 or diabetes or healthy blood sugars is the chromium picolinate. Now, research from the Grand Forks, North Dakota, has found that because picolinates are used in the body's natural chelation process, they are more easily recognized and used by the cells. The study also found that just 5 milligrams of zinc picolinate a day relieved symptoms that 60 milligrams of zinc sulfate could not. Picolinates are so well absorbed that the dosage requirements could be lower than other forms. Because the other form of the difference between having it 12 times higher with the element of the sulfate is that extra amount is being passed through your body without being absorbed right out in the waste. Chromium picolinate it helps to balance the blood sugar levels and overall good health. So it helps the body to burn fat, sugars, carbohydrates, and proteins. It supports healthy glucose metabolism and blood sugar levels. It helps in the formation of red blood cells. Also has a great side effect for helping bodybuilders and those athletes. We have it available in 500 microgram capsules. Now, how we do this is each 500 micrograms of the elemental chromium is derived from 4 milligrams of chromium picolinate. So this is 8 times the amount. We put 8 times the amount of chromium picolinate. So the element of chromium is the 500 micrograms delivered to the cells. But to get it from the gut into the cells, you need the 4 milligrams of it in the picolinic acid form. So it's the one that helps to do the cloaking device, gets it absorbed to the cells, so it's not eliminated into the waste. The studies that show that 13 of 15 chromium picolinate clinical studies, including 11 randomized control studies, reported significant improvement in at least one outcome of the glycemic control. And so this is your blood sugar level control, glycemia. All 15 studies show salutary effects in at least one parameter of diabetes management, including dyslipidemia. The positive outcomes of chromium picolinate supplementation included reduced blood glucose, insulin, cholesterol, triglyceride levels, and reduced requirements of hypoglycemic medication. So it can help monitor your medication if you are on medication, as well as a substantial reduction in hyperglycemia and hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia, so high and low blood sugar levels, which equate to a reduced risk for disease complications. Collectively, the data support the safety and therapeutic value of chromium picolinate for the management of cholesteremia and hyperglycemia in subjects with diabetes. So cholesterol and the glycemic index are helped controlled by chromium picolinate. So the benefits that we can expect to take: it helps the body burn fat, helps to control the sugar levels and the balance, carbohydrates, and with protein synthesis, supports healthy glucose metabolism and blood sugar levels, and aids in the formation of red blood cells. The next product that we have from Life Choice is the vanadyl sulfate. Vanadyl, or as the element is known as vanadium, helps to maintain optimal blood glucose levels and supports healthy glucose metabolism. It increases basal metabolic rate, and it aids in the synthesis of muscle tissue, and again lowers cholesterol. So we see the parallels here, where we have the chromium and the vanadyl are both doing similar actions within the body. Vanadyl sulfate has been shown to have insulin-like effect on the blood glucose levels. In one study, rats that had blood glucose levels normalized by 3 weeks of taking the vanadyl sulfate treatment remained normal glycemic after 13 weeks of withdrawal from the treatment. So here we have they went on for 3 weeks, and then 13 weeks without treatment, they actually were maintaining their blood sugar levels. In another study, 3 weeks of vanadyl sulfate significantly improved fasting plasma glucose and HbA levels. Now, HbA levels is more or less along the level of hemoglobin, and it affects the glycinated hemoglobin levels to determine how a patient's blood glucose levels have been controlled during the study. So it's just a level of discernment. Now, expected benefits are helps to maintain optimal blood glucose levels and supports healthy glucose metabolism, increases basal metabolic rate, and aids in the synthesis of muscle tissue and lowers cholesterol. Now, these are the two products that are helpful to take. Now, there are other things that you can do that's tips for prevention from Harvard Nutrition. Keep the weight in check. As soon as you have more pounds, the added risk of diabetes grows up substantially. So being physically active can prevent most cases of the disease. Choosing the proper diet. A diet rich in whole grains, healthy fats, give even more protection. Now, here it is an obvious. Skip the refined grains and sugary sodas. Here's one that is just came out in the news a couple of weeks ago. Is limiting the red meat and avoiding processed meats, including bacon, hot dogs, deli meats, so your cold cuts, can also help lower diabetes risk. Recently, the World Health Organization stated that processed meat is in the same category as tobacco and asbestos in terms of its link to cancer. And as I believe, disease travels in packs. You have diabetes, it has a tendency to develop into something else. Could be Alzheimer's, could be cancer, or several other diseases of heart disorders. So try instead healthier protein sources instead, like nuts, beans, poultry, and fish, and have these from a reliable source. So organic poultry, wild fish, and beans that are not genetically modified, and the same with the nuts, organic. Put exercise first and the television last. Here's where the couch potatoes don't like to hear this, but regular exercise by itself can cut diabetes risk. Choose things that you enjoy and do them every day. Too much television watching ups diabetes risk, an increase of 20% for every 2 hours you watch TV. So think of that when you're sitting there watching TV. So instead, stand up and do some deep knee bends and walk as you're watching, and do that. It'll save your blood sugar levels and could help you avoid diabetes. So trade your sit time for fit time. Try to keep your weight in check. Being a healthy weight is the best thing you can do to lower your risk of diabetes and several other diseases. Choose healthy fats and proteins. Again, skip the red meat and processed meats. I know it's very hard for some to do, but if at least limit the amount that you're going to take. And this has been related. World Health Organizations don't just release these findings. I find that they're very slow in releasing their findings. So if this has been released now, it must be a significant impact it's having with cancer. Cancer will develop to the level of 1 and 2 in the next 20 years. 1 and 2. In the United States is pretty well 1 and 3 today. A diet rich in mono and polyunsaturated fats can help lower your risk of diabetes and heart disease. So proper oils, organic coconut oil and cold-pressed olive oil are your great choices. As these are fats from your diet is your avocados, organic again, nuts, and seeds. Focus on plant foods. A diet rich in vegetables and whole grains can keep blood sugar and appetite in check. Watch your labels. Watch the packaging when you buy your food. Make sure you don't find hidden sugars. This is a key to avoid developing diabetes. There's so much corn sugars hidden. So cut back on the refined carbs and sugary drinks. White bread, get rid of it. Whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead. White rice, white pasta, and potatoes can quickly increase your blood sugar levels, as do sugary soft drinks. And this includes not only your Coke and your others, but your fruit punch and fruit juices, even if organic. So over time, eating lots of these refined carbohydrates and sugar may increase your risk of type 2 diabetes. And so to lower your risk, just switch, do exact opposite of what causes it. Switch to whole grains and skip the sugar, especially your sugary drinks. Read the labels. So in conclusion, type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes, and it is striking people at a much younger and younger ages, and it is skyrocketing on a global scale. The good news that it is highly preventable. It's really a reflection of what society is doing today. With the processed foods, with genetically modified foods, with and I'll throw this in, even vaccinations have a contributing factor. This is a growing epidemic of diabetes. And as we discussed, it's also related to mental illness, so Alzheimer's and dementia. So it is imperative that blood sugar levels be addressed. The natural products we discussed today are Life Choice's chromium picolinate and the vanadyl sulfate. They can help control your blood sugar levels and increase your immunity. Of course, these do not do that on their own. They are a helpful aid. When combined with a healthy diet, non-GMO foods, exercise, and a positive attitude, we can lessen the threat of these diseases from happening. Now, what we recommend is really, it all comes down to the quality of food and raw materials that are in your supplements that do the trick. So the sourcing is critical. Read your labels, know what you're eating, know what you're putting in your body. So when it comes to natural medicine, it is the exact same thing. If you do not build your body with quality, it will never appear and materialize in the final stages. Product health is synonymous with absorption, formulated to absorb in the cellular level and not eliminated at the gut level. So your proper diet. Make sure there's no additives like we showed in the buttery popcorn. So raw materials that we use in Life Choice are genetically modified free. USP pharmaceutical grade. We buy where pharma buys, the very best. It's free from radiation and parabens and is never sourced from animal, with the exception of our glandulars, which we bring in from New Zealand, which are grass-fed and with no antibiotics or injections. And they're not produced by any byproduct. Now we also, those that may be listening to this that are suffering from diabetes and could be suffering from diabetic neuropathy, I would like to give you some advice on that. Is we have two products, and it's not part of our discussion because we're talking about healthy blood glucose, but in case those that have the condition, what we recommend is to take our product called Sweet Relief Cream, and it's a 12% lignocol MSM mixed with capsicum, chilies, and your eucalyptus, so the hot and cold, and mix that on a 50-50 level with our medicinal grade DMSO. The areas and extremities that you have pain with, diabetic neuropathy, rub this mixture, half a teaspoon, on that area and apply it up to 3 times a day. Those that have diabetic neuropathy have sent in their testimonies that they find relief within the first 15 minutes of application. So this is wonderful news. This concludes our training on healthy blood glucose, and it is refreshing to know that this disease can be reversed and avoided if the proper choices are made. Thank you.